See, I'm having C6. You know that very well. What is the meaning of C6? V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6. I have to start from V1 and I have to go with the things. Now here, what I am going to do now, I am going to divide the vertices into two sets. I am going to divide the vertices into two sets, so that there is the connection from this set to the other set. For example, if I take V1, see here when I take V1, when I take V1 out, from V1 I am having a connection to the other set V2 and V6, isn't it? So when I take V2, I can say V1 and V3. So in this case, how I can divide this in the two parts, these two sets? I can divide the sets into, I can take V1, odd numbers, V3, I am going to take the odd numbers separate, V3 and V5. I am going to take this set separate and I am going to define another set. I am going to define another set for the remaining vertices. What are all the remaining vertices I have? I have V2, V6, sorry, V4 and V6. V6. So the basic idea, I have to divide the given set into two parts so that what will happen? Everybody can, all the vertices can have a common, all the vertices can have a common line. If you take K3, K3 is a not bipartite graph. But in exam, you have to remember this, dear. This is the most important thing. If I say Kn is bipartite only for n is equal to 1 and 2. See, for example, in the exam, the question may be like this: is K5 bipartite? For example, K5 bipartite. This is the question. Okay. You have to remember the answer only like this, because for bipartite graph, for K, only for first two number 1 and 2 is bipartite. Any other number is not bipartite. So the answer is no. Or maybe if it is true or false, you are going to say false. If it is true or false, you have to say false. Okay. Understand the idea? For C, that is cycle. For cycle, any even number value is called bipartite. If I have a cycle with even number edges, sorry, vertices, then it is called bipartite. For example, C10. I am having C10. The number 10 is even number. 10 is even. 10 is even. If I have an even number, then I am going to write this is bipartite. I'm going to write this is bipartite. I want to check what is C41. What is C41? 41 is odd number, isn't it? 41 is an odd number. If I have an odd number, this is not bipartite. This is not bipartite. Understand the idea, dear? And for the next two, one for wheel, wheel is never a bipartite graph. Wheel cannot be a bipartite graph. Okay. Wheel is always not bipartite. If I find a W, W1, W3, W3, W10, W100, W200, W500, any number for wheel, this is not a bipartite graph. On the opposite cubic functions, which we say as cubic function, for all the values it is bipartite. For all the values of n, the cubic function is bipartite. So if you remember this slide in exam, you can write the answers here for this bipartite graph. If you remember this, you can write the answers in the exam. The last idea of this is called complementary graph. Complementary graph. A simple graph G bar in which the vertices are adjacent if and only if They are not adjacent in the graph. What is this, teacher? You are writing something difficult. No, this is not difficult. Let me draw, let me take a circle or a square, rectangle. Okay. I am going to define this, dear. See, here, this is V1. Okay. This is V2. This is V3. Let me take in cyclic order. V3. And here is V4. Okay. Here, what I am having a connection from V1 to V2. I am having connection from V2 to V3. I am having a connection from V3 to V4. I am having a connection from V4 to V1. The meaning of complementary graph, I should not have this same graph. That means I am going to make a line from V1 to V3. I am going to draw a line from V1 to V3. Why? Because they are not adjacent. There is no line between V1 and V3. So for the complementary graph, I am going to take the opposite. I am going to take the line from V1 to V3. I am going to take a line from V2 to V4. V2 to V4, because there is no line between V2 to V4. This graph is called the complementary graph. This is G. If I take this as G, and if I take this as G graph, then this is called complementary graph. Then this is called complementary graph, where I am having the connection, or where I am having the line opposite of the given graph. Opposite of the given graph. Here I am having line from V1 to V2. So in G bar, I should not have a line from V1 to V2. I don't have a line from V1 to V3. So in G bar, I should have a line from V1 to V3. This is called complementary graph. This is called the complementary graph. Teacher, how to find this answer, teacher? This is very simple, dear. Here is a qanun, that we are having a rule. The number of edges of EG3, EG bar is equal to V into V minus 1 divided by 2 minus the number of edges, For example, number of edges of a complementary graph G, which has 15 vertices and 22 edges. I am going to put this in the rule, V into V minus 1 minus E. So what is the value of V here? Let me copy this so that now. What is the value of V? How many vertices are there in this? 15 vertices are there, isn't it? So 15 minus 1 divided by 2 minus E. How many edges we have? 22. How many edges we have? 22. Using the calculator, I am going to simplify this. So 15 minus 1 is 14 divided by 2. 15 minus 1 is divided by 2. So this is 105 minus 22. So the answer is 83. So the complementary graph will have 83 edges, 83 lines it will have. 83 lines it will have. For example, here I am going to take, let me take this as the example. I will finish with the last example. Here I am having 4 vertices, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 lines. I am going to find the complementary of this. How many edges I am having? I am having 4 vertices and 4 lines. So how many should be in the opposite? So I am going to put this in the rule, V into V minus 1. So this is 4 into 4 minus 1 by 2 minus 4. So 4 into 4 minus 1 is 3. So 4 into 3 divided by 2 is 12 minus 4 into 3, 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6 minus 4 is equal to 2. So in G bar, I should have only 2 lines. When I check here, you can find I am having only 2 lines from V1 to V3, V2 to V4. This is called complementary graph. Everybody understand the idea, dear? Because I finished the chapter 6 today, so that I can finish the chapters by this week, all the chapters 7. Today I will upload all the videos, dear. Okay, I will upload the videos and you can check, you can ensure, you can go through them. Thank you all for your cooperation, dear. I finish my class now. Thank you all.